My session today is about making financial well-being fun. So let's start with a bit of fun. There's a little competition going on at the moment, so I don't want to alienate anybody in the room that's not part of that competition, like the Scottish or the Welsh. But certainly, when we look at what's going on in the World Cup, we ran a piece in the press last week at Scottish Widows talking about the Pensions World Cup. Obviously, Scotland not being part of the World Cup, we thought we'd participate in some way. And we took every country that's in the FIFA World Cup, we rated them in terms of a pensions situation, how they are in their particular country, and we ran that through in terms of the World Cup itself. Interestingly, in this World Cup, Germany did make it through the group stages. And guess who won in the end? The Australian pensions scheme, or the Australian pensions system, won in terms of that alternative World Cup. Why did they win? Bluntly, because they've been auto-enrolling for the last 25 years. And actually, from an English position, from a UK position, we did pretty well. We've only been auto-enrolling for 5 years. So actually, we did pretty well. And in the real World Cup, if we get that far, I'll be quite chuffed with that as well. So just a little bit of fun. It's the afternoon session. You've had a couple already, so let's get you involved. I'm just looking, not for heckling, but I'm just looking for something on your mind. What do you think about workplace pensions? What's your view about workplace pensions? Any shout-outs at all?
I think people actually I've noticed people getting more interested actually in
Yeah.
pensions. I think they are recognising they might have to work longer. So surprisingly, even though it's kind of feels like you focus on it when you're getting older, I'm noticing
Yeah, a lot more. Much more involvement.
Yeah.
Anything else? Just any sort of one-word thoughts? Anybody? Complicated. Thank you. And here?
I would disagree. It depends on the demographics of the workforce.
Yeah.
We've got a younger workforce and they're not engaged with it at all. To them, investing in a pension and being forced to put in even the minimum default rate means nothing to them. They
No.
put their money in a different savings vehicle.
No, absolutely. It's too far away for them, isn't it? It's too far away. So thank you. We ran our own research through our Independent Governance Committee, coupled with a number of other independent governance committees. And SACA's ran a piece of research around what employees, around 40,000 employees, felt about pensions. And unfortunately, the results, thank you for saying confusion, it was a fairly consistent response. A lack of knowledge, confusion, it breeds distrust ultimately, and then you see some of the more derogatory terms. I'm guessing you saw bandits up there. Yeah, quite. So it's actually a little surprise because people don't tend to understand financial pieces. And let me just play you a short film here, just some of the myths involved, particularly in terms of pensions.
I've had a pension since I was 21 and I've paid minimal into it, thinking that when I died it would just be lost, or if the pension company went bankrupt or went out of business I'd lose my money. And today I feel pretty gutted because neither of them are true, and I'm going to have a smaller pension pot now as a result of a myth that I should have found out a long time ago.
So something fairly common, maybe not the myth about losing because of dying or moving employer, but certainly a fairly common view that there's just some misconceptions involved in terms of both pension but generally savings. But linking it through to what we're here today, people not having knowledge, people having concerns, people then distrusting, that causes stress. And ultimately, some research from Scottish Widows over the last couple of years, it concludes that 1 in 6 people in Britain have suffered some form of mental issues as a direct result of money concerns. Anecdotally, I heard just this week an employee assistance program talking about the amount of calls they get, and around half of those calls are even worse, they're linked to suicide. So this is really, really serious in terms of a linkage to stress about money-related matters and people's financial well-being. A little bit later, a couple of sessions a bit later on, you'll see Close Brothers talking about some research, and we looked at one of their parts of research in conjunction with the Chartered Institute of Payroll Professionals, and they called out that 25% of employees recognise that their main cause of stress is financial matters. The FCA's research, around 90%, the vast majority of employers recognise that financial stress in the workplace is causing people to be off, quite frankly. And wonderful Elizabeth's session earlier talking about the research from Neighbour, or the work that they do with Neighbour. Their own research has showed that we've lost around £121 billion in the UK through financial stress and people not being able to work, and that added up to 18 million working hours. So this is a really, really serious point, and something we've got to help people with. So when we're in the workplace, what do people ask? Well, they ask us lots of stuff, but actually fundamentally, they ask, what have I got, and is it enough? Because that's their fear. And the last session, if you were in that, you just seeing that the minimum level of auto-enrolment is not enough to provide a good level of income in retirement. We all know that. But certainly, people don't even know what they've got half the time we see them. The extension of sometimes what they ask us is, where can they get help as well? So, as an employer, where can you access help? Well, first of all, the Financial Advice and Markets Review, that called out that the employer was the #1 place for your employees to go to ask questions and to get more information about financial matters. So as an employer, where can you go? Well, there's some third-party areas you can go to in terms of the Money Advice Service, the Pensions Advisory Service. Even PensionWise will come into your workplace and have days on site to provide clinics for your people, one-to-one sessions for your people. And there's no cost involved in any of these arrangements. Obviously, PensionWise, they'll only deal with people closer to retirement. So how can we have a broader reach? You could certainly work with advisors, organisations such as some of the sessions have spoken about. They might give you access to education, potentially even robo-advice, or indeed just have the opportunity to sit down with somebody, which could be advice, but it could also just be a guidance situation. You'll have lots and lots of providers, many here today, not just pension providers, but other financial services providers that are keen to help too. In terms of Scottish Widows, we segment our support across education, guidance and advice, because we know that some people, that different things are going to appeal to different people. All of what we offer is underpinned by our independent governance committee, so there's some oversight on that as well. In terms of the education piece, the mainstay of that for us is video content. People might want to have a booklet and read through, they might want to go on a website and read through, and we heard in the last session, digital is not the be-all and end-all, and absolutely it's not. But in terms of video content, if you look at everything we do in terms of social media, learning, a short piece of film, it seems to be the preferred method that people get information through right now. The video content is built up through the research from Google. We simply looked at Google Analytics and said, what are people asking about pensions? And we challenged ourselves to deliver some short content about it. I'm not talking about 12-minute films from technical idiots like me. I'm talking 30 to 40 seconds of material answering the most common questions around pensions. From our perspective, 4 million views, that gives us a good affirmation that people are actually getting involved with these things and looking at them. You might wonder why I'm putting banking up there. Well, just thinking of today, who's accessed their bank online, either through an app or on their phone? And keep your hands up. Anybody accessed it yesterday? This week at all? And in the last month? So almost the majority of us have accessed our bank account online in the last month. That clearly is a place that you go to because you're interested in your day-to-day monies, or your children might want some money, for example. But it's also a platform that you should be linking all of this content in. If we think about the nudge theory that we've heard about over the last few years, it's a platform to be able to place all of these kind of messages and additional content. So certainly in terms of Lloyds Banking Group, we see 3 billion logons a year. 3 billion opportunities to nudge people in the right direction so people can understand where they can get help if they've got this lack of information, this lack of knowledge. So what else have we got? Well, I'm advocating time in the workplace. The last session talked about making it personal, not making it impersonal. If you turn up to a work site and offer an opportunity for somebody to have a chat with you, that is a personal discussion. So we're advocating that in the workplace. And over the last year at Scottish Widows, we gave 26,000 opportunities for employees to sit and listen to a pension presentation and ask any questions they've got. So 26,000. What else do we do? Well, the title of this presentation is Making It Fun. Well, hopefully you'll see in a moment, this is how we make it fun.
Hi guys, so I'm here at Samsung today and with the guys. Say hello everyone.
Hi!
Do you want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Gamit.
Ebenezer here.
Danielle, hi.
So you guys look after everyone here with pensions?
Pensions, employee benefits, yeah.
Fantastic. And what do you think about the bus here today?
It's huge.
Absolutely
It's
awesome.
crazy.
Yeah, it's been so busy. So
Great
busy.
experience.
So it's unbelievable how many people we had on so far?
Over 100, yeah. 120.
And the best part has been brilliant. And the best part of it, guys, we've got an ice cream truck and we've got the bus here Everyone say hello. Hey!
So we're combining another feature here, food with fun. So ultimately, the real clever bit that we did at Samsung, or that Samsung, it was their idea, was you could only get your ice cream if you went on the bus and you then showed your bus ticket to the ice cream van and you got your ice cream for free. So combining fun with food is another idea as well. And you'll see a little bit more about how we use the bus in just a moment. So I'm advocating time on site, but also you need to incentivize people because obviously people are busy at their work, so you need to give them permission to go. So one of the things that we do is we'll engage with line managers before we're on site to help them understand what the message is and why they should give their people time to come and see us. There was a place up in Stoke that we went to that unfortunately their break was only 15 minutes, but they were allowed an extra 15 minutes if part of that break was coming out to see the people that were on site. So it's just engaging that line manager's piece. Some other ideas up here. So you've got the incentive in terms of a prize draw. Most of the stands outside you see here has got a prize draw. Why are we doing that? Not for GDPR reasons, of course, because we can't collect your data anymore, which I have to remind some of the guys on my stand. But certainly, you're just incentivized to come and see us, aren't you? So that's an incentive for your employees too, and it doesn't have to be a huge thing. We'll run some of the video content, but also over here, this is a questions board. So I think some people don't really understand what the questions are that they want to know. They know they need to know something, but they're not really sure. So the questions board, we'll update it. The questions board really just promotes the most common questions we're getting that day. And it's always different. It could be a workforce that has a lot of people that are not from the UK. So the reason why they're not joining the pension scheme is because they're moving back to where they've come from. And of course, they're concerned they can't take the pension with them. It could be that there's a different diverse workforce that has a lot of career breaks, time off. So there's all of those questions that are the myths that you saw earlier. Ultimately, we're making it fun. And one of the things that we make it fun with is using a game. And the Scottish Widows game is an Age Me game. And it's a simple concept. You take a selfie, you put in a piece of information about yourself in terms of your pension savings, and it will actually age you appropriately to when you would receive a decent level of income in retirement. And unfortunately, you'll see in a moment, when I show you one last film, you'll see in a moment some of the results are not great. I promise not to share mine. Obviously, the extension of the game, of course, after that disturbance is you can help people understand what they might be able to afford to pay into a pension, and of course, it will make their aged picture look a lot better. So that's the kind of concept, again, bringing sort of fun into the workplace. So you've seen a couple of films from me right now. They're all based around when we've been out supporting the Pension Awareness Day tour. I'm going to share a little bit of a longer film right now, a couple of minutes worth of footage about the tour itself and about what it did in the last year. And certainly the tour is running again in September. And right at the end of this film, I want you to just remember that quote at the top. This is probably somebody like most of you in the audience. They look after people in that employer business. And the pride and sense of just fulfillment from having the support is absolutely evident. And my colleague Robert Cochrane was here speaking last year. He's actually voice-overing this film. So I'll leave this with you right now.
Employers are investing a lot of money in their pensions, and employees aren't sure where they can get help or how to engage them. So here's an opportunity to come out, let employees come on board, ask any questions they have about pensions. It's that whole thing about getting them to engage and understand where they're going to be in retirement.
To be honest with you, I'm 35 and I know very little, almost nothing about pensions at all. But the most important thing would be what I can do now to make sure that I retire on a salary that would afford me the lifestyle I want to have at that age, and feeling a little bit better just understanding where my money's going.
I feel that everybody should come onto the pension bus and it should be compulsory, especially for young people who don't understand pensions.
Before I came here today, I had absolutely no idea.
So what's on the bus? There's a whole host of different things. You've got the fun stuff like the Age Me app, where you can go on, get aged and find out what you might look like in the future and also when you might retire on a decent amount of income. We've got the Tweak for a Treat, and it's an old-fashioned vending machine and some prizes will drop out. Upstairs on the top deck, we run seminars. It's 15 minutes at a time on various different topics. And downstairs, we've always got our specialists. They're there to answer any questions about pensions.
Across the UK, we have over 28,000 staff within our business, and we're really keen to try and, I guess, demonstrate to them that their well-being, financial well-being, is vitally important to us.
I think this is brilliant. It's brilliant that you can actually come on the bus and speak to the people and just ask the questions that you want to ask and get the answers.
Been to a couple of sessions in there, and yeah, I actually feel like I understand pensions now.
I managed to find a pension scheme from 2009 that I didn't even know existed.
I'm pleased today that I became brave and came on the pension bus.
I've registered and I'm actually really quite pleasantly surprised by what I've actually got in my pot, so thank you very much.
So I found a lump of money today that is now going into my Scottish Widows pension scheme.
We've put the invites out and been overwhelmed by the response that we've seen today.
The main thing I'll take away from today is that it's really a very easy process to accomplish by yourself without a whole heap of help from your pension provider.
I think it's great. It's created a huge buzz within the office. The speculation about the widow coming herself has really brought, pensions to life and has really increased awareness, and that was really our goal and our aim of doing this.
So hopefully you saw her there at the end, Judith from Subsea 7, right up in Aberdeen. The pride that she was showing through the support that she's given to her employees. And if I look at just some of the social media comments as well, we've got Emily here. Emily works for a firm called Royds Withy King in Bath, and I remember that quite well because there's a bit of a dip on the car park as it goes in, and the bus bottomed out on the way through. So some of these stickers on the bus actually covered up the flesh wounds that we accumulated. But Emily's in her early 20s. She hadn't got a clue. She was very much disengaged in terms of pensions. Her employer told her to get outside and just go and spend a few minutes on the bus. She sat through a presentation, she asked a couple of questions, obviously she had some fun as well, and you can see the kind of fun in terms of the tweet that she's put through there. So I'm advocating, obviously, helping people with their finances and demystifying and help bust some myths. And ultimately, I'm not just talking about pension, I'm talking about a whole range of finances. If you've got graduates coming into your business, they're almost certainly laden with debt. They might need some support with that. If you've got younger people in your business, or even people in middle age, in the rental sort of economy that we're in, they might need some support with significant purchases, first times in their life with certain things. And obviously the key as well is to provide a single customer view. And what I mean by that is people seeing all of their finances in one place. So if people log on to their Lloyds bank account, they can actually see their pension value as well. If people log on to their pension, they can see their ISA and their general investment account value too. Okay, so it's advocating being able to make it easy for people to see all their finances in one place. So we're talking about support in the workplace here, we're talking about supporting wider financial matters and supporting life events, not just talking about product or finances. And what else are we doing? With just 1 minute left, what else are we doing? Well, at Scottish Widows, we're all about experimenting with stuff. We try new stuff all the time. Yesterday, I was looking at a financial health check tool just to put people into 4 different broad areas to help them with what was potentially interesting for them. But also a recent experiment is actually we're looking at virtual reality. So again, another version of a game, having a bit of fun. People with a bit of information going into the system, they can see a future world. And ultimately in the middle here, it's a would you rather. Not necessarily squalor versus a nice home, but that kind of concept. And certainly the kind of fun, the smiles after the VR session is really cool. And that's something that we can bring into the workplace as well. So ultimately I started with what people felt about pensions, you gave me your views, and here's what people say after they have support in the workplace. And I'm chuffed that the middle one is fun. So thank you for today. What I'm advocating, of course, is find out what your providers can offer, try different things and have fun, and obviously create focused events that bring it all together. So thank you.